Welcome to the PNAP 101 recorded class. After watching this recording, you'll be able to define the Professional Nursing Advancement Program, describe how PNAP is aligned with Peace Health Nursing Excellence, know the differences between the different levels of PNAP 3, 4, and 5, identify different ways to collect your PNAP activity points, understanding the flow and the application process utilizing the PNAP app QuickBase, collaborating with your leadership throughout the PNAP application, and accessing the resources that have been created for you to apply for PNAP. What a PNAP allows you to do is to stay a strong nurse that furthers your career and profession, but stay in direct patient care. There are two different routes to advance your professionalism, and most people believe there is only one through leadership. There are different levels of nurses based on their education, experience, certification, and engagement. PNAP defines who you are as a nurse and creates an environment that engages and stimulates you and provides opportunities for you to serve as an example and also for retaining and attracting other nurses from outside the system into our system, because we have a program that allows you to become an expert at your skill set. PNAP develops a lifelong learning. Nurses are always learning and doing something new. And it is not uncommon to hear a nurse say they are going to school while working full-time. This is also an award to people who go above and beyond and allow themselves the fear of the unknown of advancing their career and doing more for themselves, peers, and patients. PNAP is built by nurses for nurses as a way to foster professional growth and development. Now we will hear testimonials from a couple of nurses who helped create what the Professional Nursing Advancement Program looks like for Peace Health. First is Jessica Sonata, an emergency nurse from St. John Medical Center.
Hi, I'm Jessica Sonata, and I'm an emergency nurse at St. John Medical Center. I want to share with you that this PNAP is for you. You have worked very hard, and it's been a really long journey. You impact your unit, you train novice nurses, you finished education during a pandemic, and we want to recognize you. So this PNAP is for you.
Next is Andrea Stever, an ICU nurse at Peace Health Southwest.
Hi, my name is Andrea Stever. I'm an ICU nurse at Peace Health Southwest. Currently, we do not have a PNAP program, but I've had the extreme pleasure and honor to be part of building and also improving this program that is already existing in our sister hospital in Riverbend. The PNAP program will help us not only elevate, but promote our profession and our personal practice at bedside. So why don't you come and grow with me and be the face of excellence and leadership at bedside.
This is the PNAP model for advancement on the left-hand side and is a visual representation of how RNs can advance their nursing career while doing direct patient care work without becoming a nurse practitioner. And on the right-hand side is the more traditional advancement ladder through leadership that is already in place at Peace Health. This model has 5 levels based on Dr. Patricia Benner's novice to expert theory, which describes the natural path nurses move along in their nursing practice given time, experience, and a desire to be a lifelong learner. The model starts with the new grad, the novice. RN1, advanced beginner, is the nurse going through orientation, and RN2, the competent nurse, is a nurse who has completed orientation. All nurses hired into Peace Health will achieve a level 2 at a minimum because competency is required to provide safe patient care. With the PNAP model, now nurses can continue to advance to higher levels while at the bedside providing direct patient care. Applying for PNAP is optional. RN3, the proficient nurse, is an ADN with an advanced certification or a BSN level RN. The RN4, the expert nurse, is a BSN with an advanced certification. The RN5 is the specialist nurse with a MSN with advanced certification. In addition to certification and degree requirements for PNAP advancement, each level has a nurse performance standard that clearly outlines the skill expectations at the proficient, expert, and specialist levels. You will work with leadership to attest that you have met for the specific level of PNAP you are applying for. You do not have to start at a level 3. If you see you have met the guidelines for level 4, you may apply for a level 4. The first step for any nurse who is interested in applying for PNAP is to review the requirements and performance standards for each level and do a self-assessment. See where you may need to grow to meet the qualifications of the area you are applying for. Part of the performance standards includes unit skills, and each unit has defined skills as which will be separated into competent, proficient, and expert. Activity points are based off the professional practice model, and each level has a different required amount. A level 3 has 16 points in 3 pedals, a level 4, 24 points in 4 pedals, a level 5, 32 points in 6 pedals. Here is the overall flow of how you can move through the PNAP application process. Review the core requirements and determine which PNAP level is right for you. You can view the requirements within the PNAP app for each level on the program homepage under the Before You Begin section. Scroll to the bottom of each level to see the different requirements, or you can access the requirements from the PNAP application toolkit on the PNAP program page. Once you have determined which PNAP level is right for you, click the green Create a New Portfolio on the home page to begin the application process. Check in the app box to formally indicate your intent to pursue PNAP and attest that you will meet the core requirements at the time of the portfolio submission. Complete performance standards and clinical skills self-assessments and upload your completed self-assessments into your portfolio in the performance self-assessment element documents. Schedule a time to meet with your manager to discuss your intent to apply to the Professional Nursing Advancement Program. Topics you may want to discuss in your meeting may include performance review, including peer assessments, your professional development interests, projects you would like to participate in for the department, network, or system, your performance standard skill assessment, and the clinical skills self-assessment, including any gaps you would like leadership support to address. Questions or input you would like regarding the SMART goals development for your PNAP application. The following steps can happen in any order. You may choose a mentor to have access to your portfolio so they can provide you with professional feedback regarding your application. You may add a mentor at any point. Write 3 SMART goals: measurable, achievable, results-focused, and time-bound, and upload to your portfolio. Select activities elements totaling at least the minimum points needed for your level, including supporting documents as indicated. And finally, time for self-reflection and final review of your materials. Submit your portfolio. Once it's submitted, it cannot be edited. The PNAP charter consists of greater than 50% of patient care RNs, and your peers are the only ones who have voting privileges. It is going to be network-based, so will include hospital, ambulatory, and critical access RNs. You'll be working with leadership during the whole PNAP process. Leadership will need to participate in your application on QuickBase, including confirming your skill level you're applying for. You will need to collaborate with leadership on any evidence-based projects you plan on working on or leading in your area. If you plan on participating or chairing a committee, council, or collaborative, you will need to work with your leader to find the time away from patient care for that commitment.
This section is to provide you with all the resources that you're going to need to apply for the Professional Nursing Advancement Program. And all the resources are located on this PNAP website. The access for this is through Crossroads, and it is actually under your system departments under the Nursing Excellence site. I have everything opened up and ready to go for our training just because it takes a little bit of time as we're navigating through, but I think it's really important that you know where to go back to for the link. And under the professional development section of this site, there is also a link on the bottom for PNAP, and that is where you can find your homepage, which you can also save to your favorites once you get onto that page, which is right here. And your PNAP program site, the link is right here. Now, it will, once this site opens, it takes you directly to your PNAP homepage. So all the resources that you'll need to apply are right here. And you can see we have some upcoming classes. If you're encouraging anybody to check out PNAP, you can register for a live class over here. Right now, you're just listening to the recorded version of the class. And probably the most helpful thing to guide you is going to be this applicant toolkit. And it's kind of like a document library. I'm going to show you some of the other buttons before we dive into that. We also have the link that takes us directly into QuickBase, where we're going to be starting an application. And all of the documents in the applicant toolkit can also be found in the library over here. We have the RN performance standards that you need to review to determine which level you're going to be applying for, and that's also a quick link here. And then if you find, because we have so many links on this site, if you do need assistance because a link is broken, you can contact our site manager right here, and that will send an email directly to the site manager to get that link fixed. But I'm going to dive into our applicant toolkit first. So the toolkit provides information regarding Peace Health Nursing Professional Advancement Program, and the intended audience for this toolkit is really anybody applying for PNAP or PNAP champions or nurse managers that are supporting applicants. And we will be completing the contact section of this as our networks go live. So you'll be able to easily get a hold of the network committee, and they're going to be your first place to go for questions as you're moving through this process. For our quick link resources, we have a link to the resource. It tells you the target audience and then the description, so you can decide if this is something that's going to be helpful for you. And the first link just talks about the class, which you're in right now. And we'll be offering these that you can enroll through My Learning if you're trying to encourage anybody else to get more information and they want to. And this is access through the Nursing Excellence site on Crossroads. I just showed you that pathway. Our application process flow is something that you already saw when we were going through the PowerPoint section, but this is a link directly to that application process flow for people who want to see it in the visual depiction, as well as the PNAP model that we showed earlier in class as well. The link to the performance standards you're going to see is embedded in a couple different places. It's also in our QuickBase application directly. It's directly on the PNAP homepage. It's within the toolkit because it's such an integral document for applying for PNAP, just meeting those nursing performance standards and being really familiar with the level that you are applying for. And then the PNAP activity points, once we get into the QuickBase app, you'll see how those work. But if you're ever wanting to just check how many points something is worth and you're not inside the app, you can always check here by looking at the activities and the point values. We have some QuickBase app quick start guides, one for applicants and one for managers. And then this will actually take you directly to the QuickBase app as well. The first document I want to dive into right now is the candidate milestone checklist for PNAP. And I already have that one open down below. When you click on the links from the toolkit or from the PNAP site, they'll always open in electronically, and you can always open in the Word version through a desktop app if that's more helpful when you're viewing your documents. Sometimes they navigate a little bit quicker. But this will help get, for anybody who wants to print this out, it's going to help guide you through the entire process at a pretty high level. And so we were talking you guys through this in the PowerPoint, but you also have it as a handout that you can print out and help guide you through this whole process, from reviewing your core requirements to determine which level is right for you, to creating that portfolio in the QuickBase app that we're just about to do, and then complete performance standards and clinical skill assessment. Gives you the instructions on how to do that, meeting with your manager, and how you're going to write your 3 SMART goals, and then selecting activities and elements totaling the minimum points you need for your level, including your supporting documentation. And then you're finally submitting your portfolio. And then after you submit your portfolio, we also give another little checklist here around scheduling an interview time with your PNAP counsel HR will verify you meet the core requirements. The PNAP Council will send an email with what to expect and additional questions you should prepare to discuss during your interview. Give your presentation depending on your level to the PNAP Council, and then after interviews are complete, all candidates will receive notice of promotion status at the same time. So that is your checklist that you can print out that I think is going to be pretty helpful. We're still working on a peer assessment template, so we don't have that one linked, but it will be linked probably by the time you're watching this video. So that's something we want to provide for you to make the process easier. And we also have a SMART goals template that I want to show you as well. So as you're developing your SMART goals, it gives a little bit more background on what SMART goals are. We've mentioned they're specific, measurable, achievable, results-focused, and time-bound. And then this is where you can actually write out your goals to be submitting as documentation for this piece of the process. Another thing I want to point out on our checklist or our toolkit is our professional certification list. One of the requirements for applying for PNAP is that at the level 3 level, you have to have either a professional certification, and it has to be one of the ones approved on this list for Magnet, or a BSN, and that at the level 4 and 5, it is a requirement to have a professional certification. So this list is going to be really important. If you are not certified yet, you're going to want to check this list to ensure that the certification you're going for counts towards this program. So that's where you can check here. We also have a link to CE Direct, and that link has a lot of resources for people that are starting to study for board certification. There's a lot of free study material on here, so we highly recommend that, a lot of free CEs. And if you are interested in doing professional certification, it's a great place to start. And we also have tuition reimbursement, and this will link you to the HR site under career development and tuition reimbursement if you have questions about that. So we hope that this toolkit will be a landing spot for you to access the documents you need, and without having to navigate and open a bunch of stuff, you can get an idea of what the document has within it in a description. So that's something that's going to be pretty helpful, we hope, for you. The next thing we're going to take a look at is the actual QuickBase app. And this is where we're going to build our portfolio. When you enter the PNAP app, you are going to see a notice here that says before you begin. And it's always good to start with that if you see anything that says before you begin. So we're going to start there. You're going to review the program requirements below and determine which program level is right for you. And once you've decided what you want to do, then you're going to create your new portfolio. So right now, we're not going to read in depth all of the different levels you can apply for, from proficient, expert to specialist. But let's just take a look at proficient and start there. So I am a candidate, and my first step is reviewing these. So I'm reading through. Registered nurses must have and maintain employment status of full-time, part-time, or meeting the requirements per diem. Okay, got it. Provide patient care responsibilities for greater than 50% of the time. Yep. Employed with Peace Health for a minimum of 1 year at the time of final portfolio submission date. Got it. No step 1 or greater corrective action within the past 12 months. Got it. Now, if you had any question about what a step 1 or greater corrective action is, you can work with your manager or contact your HR partner. Up to date on annual education, competencies, and certifications within the last 12 months. Got it. And again, you're going to be aware if you are non-compliant with that, because you would have already probably had a conversation with your manager. Meets expectations in all categories of most recent performance appraisal. So that's something you also should be aware of, and you can connect with your manager if you have questions. 3 professional SMART goals to be achieved over the next 2 years that are specific, measurable, and time-bound as identified in the application. So this is where we have to document our goals as part of our portfolio. You don't have to achieve those goals yet, but your plan is to achieve them over the next 2 years. Applicant has completed a nurse performance standard self-assessment of the PNAP level 3, 4, or 5, which they're applying. The applicant meets or will meet all standards for the intended application level by the time of the promotion award. And the self-assessment has been uploaded to the PNAP electronic application. So that's where the self-assessment piece of those core standards we need to be uploaded. We are not opening those directly during this training. They are quite long, but the expectation is when you are going through the process that you're going to open up the standards that you are going for the application, reading through them and doing that self-assessment to make sure you meet all of those. Some additional things to consider here: applicant has that BSN or approved ANCC magnet approved board certification, and that list is what we showed you earlier. And applicant has a minimum of 2 years nursing experience, and they actually broke it down to care hours. So 3,744 direct care hours at the time of submission, so that we can be really clear about what the care requirements are. Show some component of the 3 of the 6 categories: clinician, nurses clinician, nurses advocate, nurses innovator, nurses collaborator, nurses educator, nurses leader. And so you're going to be documenting that in the petals when you're going to get points in all the different petals that you need to do. And then interview required for PNAP finalization process, and these are the minimum point values. So I've read through that. So, okay, done. That means I can now create more portfolio. I have an understanding of what I'm getting myself into, and I believe I meet or will meet these requirements in order to get through the process. So I'll click my Create New Portfolio button, and it will take you to your application for Add Portfolio, where you're going to type your name, and you can just start with your 3x3. You'll probably pop right up. If you have an alternate email you want to add in there, like a home email, you can certainly do that. It's not required. And just to get this application in here, I'm just going to make sure I fill out all of the red asterisks so that we can move forward. One of the options that you have is inviting a mentor to review your portfolio. So for our PNAP champions, you guys might be added in as a mentor. The mentor can view but not edit your portfolio, and they can help review to make sure everything is ready to go before you have your interview or presentation with your network committee. So I've decided, yes, I do want to have a mentor review it, and I'm going to choose my mentor, Rachel Vogel. And she popped right up with her 3x3. So now when she logs in, she'll be able to take a look at my application and provide suggestions. Because I have reviewed the program requirements, I know that right now I am going to be going for my level 3 proficient. And then you have to make sure that you're checking off this attestation statement. It's really important. We'll let you move forward. But you're attesting that you've reviewed the program requirements, you have met or will meet them at the time of submission, the core requirements for the program, and that you have met or plan to meet with your manager regarding your candidacy for the program. So I'm just going to click here. It's going to put in today's date, and then I'm going to save it, and we'll get the program requirements to come up once we save it. It's set to save and close the first time you open it, but you can also choose save and keep working, so that you don't have to go back to your home page. It should just stay right where we are when we say save and keep working. And now you can see that all the required elements are here built in with a level 3 proficient. So it's telling me that I need to have a minimum of 16 points within the 3 different petals. And I also have to upload my SMART goals and complete my performance and skill assessment. So we'll go ahead and start filling this out to see how I do. I'm going to check off my 3 SMART goals. So that document I showed you earlier, I have filled this out. All I do would be type these in. You can actually type electronically or print it and write it in and then scan it back into the computer or take a picture with your phone. But once you have your document ready to go, and you have to upload a copy to document this, and you're going to discuss this with your manager during the manager meeting, you're ready to do that. Once you check anything off, you're going to want to save first. Save and keep working. So I'm going to save both of those required elements right there, and then I'll show you how you can load your required documentation. So once you have the item checked, you can click on the pencil, and it will edit this item that you have. You can put in a brief description if you want. So these are my SMART goals. And you can upload it because you've either taken a picture or scanned it back to your computer, but you can do this from your smartphone or computer. You just have to be able to choose your file at this point. So this is not my SMART goals, but we'll just pretend it is for right now. It's the last document that I had open. But all you do is choose your document and choose upload, and then you can save and close. And now you can see that you have your document there. You can also edit that or delete that as you're working on your submission. So if your mentor came in here, reviewed your document and said, you know what, I think you need to add a little bit more clarity on some element of this, you can always add something else. But this is where you can save all of your proof and you'll never lose it because it's electronic and not in paper. And then to get back into your portfolio, I have actually been just clicking on the home button and re-entering my portfolio this way by going to view and update your existing portfolios. Typically, you'll only have one portfolio that you're actively working because I've been doing a lot of training. I have a couple of them in here. And to edit that, you again are just going to click on the pencil to open up the application and keep working. And you'll see, since I checked off both of these requirements, it says that I have both requirements elements available because I checked those off. It will move you over into the done side of this, even if you don't upload your materials, but please follow the instructions and upload those materials because that's something that would be caught at the time of review for your application. So make sure you upload your supporting documents as needed as directed in each of your line items. So now that I have those initial requirements done, I'm going to start looking at my points. And so we have the points broken up in the different petals. So we have nurse's advocate for our first one, then nurse's clinician, and so on for all the 6 different petals. And I'm going to start collecting some points based on what I know I've done in the past 2 years because the applicant can use points that have been completed within the last 2 years from the time of submission for the application. So I had some written recognition from a patient or family, and that's actually worth 3 points. So I'm going to click this one off and documented a good catch, and I participated in a nursing recruitment event. So there's a couple of items I did here, and I just want to save and keep working. Again, I say frequently just so I don't lose anything, but you save and keep working as you move through it. And then once you've saved it, you can go back in and add your documentation. So for this written recognition from patient or family, just copy of the recognition. So as long as you have that saved on your computer or your phone or wherever you're uploading from, you can click edit and capture that here. So now take a look at nurse's clinician, and I went through PROACT training and I participated in a journal club. You'll see here that some of the items you can count more than once. So you can actually get a maximum of 3 points if you've participated in 3 different journal club activities, but you couldn't just do like 6 or 8 or something like that. So they'll let you know how many you can do, and let's just use 2 for there, and that's going to be 2 points plus the 3 for the PROACT training. And then let's see, I also participated in an RCA. So I'm going to save and keep working, and I'm going to go back and look up top just to see how my points are collecting to see what it looks like for me. All right. So it looks like I have a total number of 13 points selected, and we have to have a minimum of 3 categories for those points. And so far, it looks like I've got 2, so I have to get 1 more category here. So I'm going to select on the EPB proposal because I also did one of these this year. So I'm going to save and keep working. So now, as you can see, all of the required elements have been completed as long as I upload my supporting documentation, and it shows you which categories that you have points in. At this point, since you met the minimum requirements, you can actually confirm and submit. However, if you find that you're so close to that level 4 and you've also reviewed the performance standards for level 4 and you do think that you can actually meet that, you can switch your portfolio even if you've already started at a level 3 by simply changing your drop down here and then save and keep working, and it's going to update the required elements that you need to complete to get to that level 4. So now you can see I have to have a minimum of 24 points in a total of 5 petals. So I'm going to keep going down my list and seeing what other items that I have collected here. So I was a key contributor to specialty accreditation. Did some training for that. And then I was a champion for a couple of different rollouts. and I attended a professional conference. So there's a couple of items there. And again, the supporting documentation, it lists out what it is that you need to upload for those. And then I've also functioned as a mentor this year, and I have been a co-chair. So let's save and keep working and see where I get with this and how many points I have. Okay, so it did update my points, but when you get to that level 4, I also am required to have a clinical narrative. And the information that you need to document your clinical narrative is also linked within our toolkit. We didn't open that one up when we were going through it, but that's where you could find it. But that is another core requirement. So once I click here and I hit save and keep working, now have again met my minimum requirements to confirm and submit my portfolio. So I just want to go ahead and do that. Of course, all my documentation would be uploaded. I would have probably had my mentor review it to make sure it looks really solid. And then I can hit confirm and submit. And it's going to put in today's date. It's going to ask me, am I sure? Yes. And I'm going to hit save and close. Once you do that, it will move into your submitted portfolio. See, I've been playing around with this, so I've got a couple in here. But now it is going to be in your save, like your submitted area. I'm going to go back to my candidate home. I also want to point out these purple buttons at the top. When you're within the PNAP app and you're on the home page, you also have quick links to our candidate quick start guide, which goes over all the steps I just showed you and has some really good tips like making sure don't forget about the pencil for editing. And then the milestone checklist, which I also showed you earlier, you can link to it right here. We have a general FAQ about the process that we'll continually be updating and adding more information to as we learn more. So it's a great place to start if you do have a general question. This is the activity points guide again to just show you how the points break down even outside of the app. There's our SMART goal worksheet, and then we also have a manager quick start guide, because once you have submitted your portfolio, the manager will actually have to go into and review some things and attest in there that you've met your performance expectations. And HR also will be going in on the background to make sure that you are compliant with all the requirements from an HR perspective. And then the committee will also be going in and reviewing. So a lot of people will have access to this after you hit submit. And that is how you navigate your PNAP application with our PNAP app through QuickBase.